We are back on PALS TV, and we are down in Gallia for our Out and About with Josh segment. So he's shown us some really useful skills in the past. I know the oil change is something that I felt was a very useful skill, and I think if you can learn how to do oil changes, it's a pretty useful tool to have in your tool belt. But today he's got a surprise. He showed me the fleets that he's going to unveil, and I think you guys will be pretty excited to see how much knowledge Josh can share with us on his subject today. So can you hear us okay, Josh?
Yep. Can you hear me?
We can. So what do you got in store for us today?
Four-wheeler safety, ATV, side-by-sides.
Look at that fleet. So are those all your four-wheelers and
Yes.
side-by-sides?
Well, the side-by-side is our farms.
Okay.
We use it for the farm, but the rest of them is mine and the kids.
So I bet you have some fun weekends with that many four-wheelers.
Oh yes.
That's really cool. So I'll let you take over. You tell us about the safety.
All right. Well, when you start riding four-wheelers, the first thing you make sure is you got to have boots. Because if not, you can get pretty well like drag your feet and all that. Then always make sure you got your helmets. I make every time my kid gets on a four-wheeler, they have to have a helmet. So and this is my son's. Of course, he's raced it a few times, but he's always had his boots, helmet, all of his gear. He has a chest protector, all that good stuff. And then we got my daughter's. I had just got it not too long ago and redone it for her. And she has a helmet. Then we will go over to mine, and which it is broke right now. But this is the one the neighborhood hates. It is very loud and obnoxious. And it's my race bike. And there's a lot of work that has to be done between like races. You got to do it. About every race, you got to change oil in it. And it's got a radiator, so it's a liquid cooled bike. And it is pretty fast. I had my buddy, he was following me in it when I first got it. He was in my truck and trying to keep up with me, and he was running 90 plus, and I was still taking off and leaving him. And then, of course, I've got my utility. That's what I use around the farm and my hunting vehicle. And these are just play toys. And of course, we've got the side-by-side. It is a 700 Yamaha Rhino. And my dad, he bought it about 10 years ago for the farm. This is what we use for the farm. And of course, I do the upkeep on it. Of course, we had to widen when he bought it, they had a bad rollover rate. So they actually took the wheels off of it and put a spacer in to widen it out so it's not as bad. But the thing I like about it a lot is it's got a dump bed. You can lift the thing up, and then if you got stuff you need to dump, it just jumps right up. Of course, you can see their work, so they're pretty filthy. And then this one gets pretty hot in like summertime and wintertime, because instead of the motor being like in the front and the back, it's right in the middle, and it's hard to see. But this ain't fun to redo either, because you got to take the whole middle out just to get to the motor. And then we do have a full windshield for it, so in the wintertime, the cold won't hit you. And it's actually down at the garage. But, of course, you can tell my mother's been in here. So when we go to work on these things, you got to take this seat out. Deal. We do this at least once a month to see. We got to check. I mean, we got to do it every couple weeks. Okay. Oh. That's the stuff to check the oil. And you can see, no one's checked it for a while. So, it looks like we'll be adding some oil to this thing here soon. And then, there's the, you gotta lift the hood up to check the air breather. Of course, it's got these little tabs. Oh, there's one in front too. So then you got your air filter. That's pretty dirty too. People don't like when you use the stuff, they don't like to check it sometimes. Then you just hover right back on. Click back. There's where your brake fluid goes in for your brakes. This thing, we have a lot of problem with keeping the front axles in it. And then again, you can see they're covered in string and all that. And that right there will tear an axle out right now. See how this one was already tore the boot in it from our hay strings. So before, probably about a couple months, I said I'll be replacing the front axles on that thing, just because they go out so bad. And then this one, this is mine. I bought it brand new. Poor thing led a hard life. I trail ride this, plus I use hunting. You can see the plastics broke. This poor thing. But just like the other one, you always go and I'll be surprised there ain't mud in there. See how filthy it is where we go through the hay fields. It looks like I'm gonna be doing work this weekend about getting these all cleaned back up and get everything back straightened out on them. Make sure everything gets clipped back in. You don't want dust going up in your motor. And then over here is where you check the oil. And I know it's pretty good because I just changed it not too long ago. See, I'm sitting on full with this, so. And they take a special type of oil. You've got to have an ATV oil. And of course, when you get people hung up, I have a winch. It comes in and out. It's always good to have, especially working on the farm. And then, as you can tell, my sons, he don't keep very good care of his. He leaves his filthy. Caleb has a kitty.
What's up?
Well, this is a Honda TRX, a 2013 90. This is like my son's trail ride, and he races it sometimes. But I try to keep him up on stuff to make sure it's all ready to go.
Yeah.
So his oil's fine. And of course, so you can see he doesn't take very good care of his. So I'm like, this weekend he's gonna be cleaning pretty good.
Yeah.
And then there's the air filter and all that for his. I think I want to get back on. And this one is a chain driven, and he was racing in a race over here, and the chain had come off and it busted. There was a neutral safety in right there, so I found out I could bypass that, and it will start in gear now. So after he has outgrown this one, right now he is looking for another one because he wants to upgrade. And then this one will be my daughter's. And of course, we've got a little one that like I said, I redone it. It was you can see it was a nasty, nasty yellow. And she wanted it like a teal blue, so I've painted it teal blue. I had to put some new pieces on it to get it running because I had it gave to me and they said it wouldn't run, so it took me about a couple days and I got her running for her, and she loves it. And then back to this one. You can see I got the air box out of it. There's the battery. You got your shocks. Nerf bars. For when you're jumping, you can actually put your feet here. And you don't have to worry about it falling off, going up back underneath your wheels and getting in the chain. And, yeah, you can see I've got the top end of the motor already started tearing apart because these things are very, very high maintenance. You have to rebuild. They suggest to rebuild these things every 6 to 10 hours of riding time. Since I've owned it, I've maybe rebuilt it twice, 3 times. I'd take it until I have to completely redo it. It's one of my passions. I love 4-wheelers. I love working on them. Say hi, Cody.
Say hi, Cody. Come on, Wayne.
I haven't had to work on this one as much. I've been lucky. I've had to redo a rear end in it. It's got a new rear end. Don't have no rear brakes, but I do have, it does have front, but no rears. And of course, the fourth seat, it's about done for. That's why we have an old thing I just keep over it so it don't get soaked. And this is a 500 Foreman, and it needs cleaned up. And then, of course, you got the Rhino. It's got the nice steering wheel. It's got your 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, but then when you really need it, if you're hung up, you can hit a lock, and it actually locks the front end in. So both front tire, all 4 tires will spin. But when you do that, you got to make sure you're going straight because it don't want to turn when you have that locked in. There, you can see how little the 4-wheeler is compared to with Caleb on it.
I know. I'm fat. Yes, you are. Sit down.
And then back to I don't know what year this one actually is. But I know they call these the throwaway bikes. Once they start stuff going wrong with them, they're hard to get back. You can tell my little girl rides around. There's wires hanging down. And then there's where the battery goes. And this is another one I'm going to have to start working on because it's not wanting to stay charged. So I have to figure out why it's not wanting to stay charging. And make sure the seat goes back in on this one. Little pads if we got to go back in. That's all back in. So, this is my little fleet. I'm trying to think here. Hold on a second. All right, well, I'm going to see if I can figure this out to get you guys off mute. Get you guys, see if you want questions or anything like that. Hold on with me here just a second. All right, is everybody there?
Even if loses, he is not one. Yeah.
You guys got any questions?
My daughter, her husband, and my grandbaby just I moved in here in Indiana. Because my youngest, she's been with me every day. And she's like, oh, let's come on.
Who's right there?
Okay.
There you go.
Does anybody got any questions?
Any questions? No. Thank God.
I know it do. People think that, they like, yes. And people think, really? I know what you're doing. What you doing? What you doing? You're gonna go, yeah, and come straight back, and then I will give you the snack, okay? So just hold on one second. Anyone in the men's restroom? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on, John.
Harry. Harry.
No.
Might be in the bathroom. Go
You
ahead.
guys have any questions?
Nope.
Or anything you want to ask?
Nope.
Bobby, the only thing with Bob is that Bobby says that.
Hold on. Oh. No.
Josh, you mentioned that you have to change the oil on those racing bikes every time you use them. Why is that?
They have it's called a Nicosil plate on the cylinder, and if you don't, it's like a very good protection. Especially, it's like a seal, like a coating, and sometimes they'll completely wear off. So you got to change them almost every race, or they have a chance to blow up. Or like my thing right now is my valves. I have to have my valves readjusted, and so you got to take the cams completely off, and just the wear rate of the oil from where you're so high RPMs at all the time. It breaks down that oil so bad that they suggest you to change it every race if you race them.
Do you run synthetic in most of your stuff, or do you run normal traditional oil?
I run synthetic ATV oil on every one of these.
So you're a big believer in synthetic oils?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's of course the one you're looking at here. It's expensive to change the oil in this. It's almost as much as a car changing the oil in that thing.
Wow.
It's like the oil I run for it's $10 a quart, and it takes 2.5 quarts.
Wow. So how fast do these each of those go?
My race one, I've had it at around 90. I mean, and I was climbing away from the guy that was behind me, so I'm not for sure actually the top end on it.
I don't think you'd want to find out, because I can only imagine how you were feeling on that little thing at 90.
Oh, it'll pull your front end up.
Yeah.
But I can sit there and it's a 5-speed, so you have 1 down and 4 up. But I have a little hill in front of my house here that you're going down the road. When you come up, if you're in 5th gear and you smash the gas to it, the front end's coming up.
In 5th gear?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then my utility, I've had it at 63.
Wow.
And it's got the speedometer and everything on it. So it's a little bit better to know.
What kind of gear do you recommend that if people are riding 4-wheelers they wear outside of the boots? I know you mentioned boots.
Well, if you're trail riding, you just wear boots, pants, gloves if you want to. Always wear a helmet and long sleeves. And safety goggles. They've got racing goggles, all that stuff. Like when I race, I have boots. I have a whole outfit, but I usually just wear. Here lately, I've been wearing my jeans and my race long sleeve shirt, helmet, goggles, and then I just roll with it. But like we go trail riding, everybody wears a helmet, goggles, boots, long sleeve shirts, and pants.
I can get behind that. What about snowmobiling? Do you do snowmobiling or do you ride the 4-wheelers year round?
We ride the 4-wheelers year round.
Yeah.
We don't get enough snow here to have a snowmobile.
Oh, okay, that's true.
I wish we did, because I'd love to get on one of those and see what they're like.
So, by a show of hands, how many of you have ever been on let's start with a snowmobile. Has anybody ever been on a snowmobile before? Wow.
Not me.
No? Okay. I grew up on snowmobiles. We had a fleet of snowmobiles like that, but they were all like 70s and 80s Arctic Cats. And my grandfather and my dad used to be fixing them. So they'd spend about two hours fixing one. About the time that I would go out and drive it and that one would break down, they'd be sliding another one out. So we always kind of had our cousins and myself always had like a little fleet of half-running Arctic Cat snowmobiles. So those were a good time. Some of the new snowmobiles now, they're obnoxious with the liquid-cooled seat warmers and hand warmers and all this stuff. And they're going, people are going over 100 miles an hour on trails and things like that. It's just...
they got a turbo on them now, don't you?
What Arctic Cat does?
They got a snowmobile that has a turbo on it.
That's unnecessary. Totally unnecessary.
Could you imagine? They've had 4-wheelers that put superchargers on them.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw what was that? The X Games where they had they were doing backflips on snowmobiles. I'm like, you guys are nuts. Because what's one thing with a dirt bike or a BMX, when that thing lands on you, so be it. That's Darwinism. But when a snowmobile lands on you upside down, oh my goodness. I mean,
well, it's just bad as an ATV.
Yeah, I would think that. I mean, I feel like I guess weight wise, they're probably pretty close, huh?
The red one right there, it is 600 and some pounds.
Well, I doubt you'd be trying to backflip a trail rider though, right? I'm sure somebody has, but I wouldn't.
They're doing it on those now.
Right. Yeah. How much do those usually weigh?
I'm wanting to say around 300, 400 pounds, if that.
So imagine that, everyone. You're flying through the air, and two people land on top of you when you hit the hard ground. So it's not a pretty thing to imagine. So nobody's rode snowmobiles. Okay. How about four-wheelers? By a show of hands, has anybody ever rode a four-wheeler before? Is that a no? No to Nick. Wow. Okay. Is that Caleb?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He
Caleb.
rode a four-wheeler. DJ, you ever rode a four-wheeler?
Yeah.
Okay, he's rode a four-wheeler. Josh, have you ever rode a four-wheeler?
Oh yeah.
No.
No? Okay.
I'll tell you the worst thing. I was racing, and it was the bike before I had this one, and I hit a ramp and come down. And I had another guy land on his front tire landed on my leg. And the poor guy rolled, and I was like, what in the world?
Jeez. Yeah, that's pretty intimidating. So tell us tell us some racing stories that reiterate the fact of safety gear. What's the worst racing experience you've had?
I was at the Gay County Fair, and they had a jump that was made for a dirt bike. Well, I was sitting there. I had one around a couple of times, and I was barely hitting it. Then I was like, I'm going to double this thing. Well, I shot it. I shot the moon, and my bike was straight up and down. And when I landed on the back tires, and it just knocked me completely off the four-wheeler. And I sat up, and I looked at my jersey, and I had tire marks going across my chest where it ran over me.
Whoa.
And if it wouldn't have been for the helmet and stuff, I'd have probably been really hurt.
Yeah.
Because if you can see, like right here, there's a bolt right here. I had to actually drill this completely out because I snapped both of the bolts off on the thing when I come down on it.
So, okay, that's a pretty intimidating story. So, those four-wheelers, you got to be careful on them. For especially all of you inexperienced drivers with the four-wheelers and the snowmobiles, you're get on one of those. Make sure that you take safety pretty seriously, because they can hurt you really bad. You can really be injured on them.
Yes.
I know none of my my snowmobiles had enough oomph to do a backflip. So luckily I never had to deal with that. However, my 75-year-old grandfather, one time we had a snowstorm that was so horrible. He had to go up and shovel the snow off of the roof because it was starting to buckle the walls. So he was pushing all the snow off the roof, and when he was done, it was a ranch house, so it was only one story. He walked from the roof directly onto his snow pile. So that was just how high the snow was. And the snow plow had left another big pile right by his driveway. And so my grandfather in his 70s decided, all of a sudden, my grandmother and I saw him driving, doing a big lap around the yard. And we said, what is he doing? And he opened it up and started right at this pile. It was probably 2-3 cars high, and just went like, actually, no incline, just drove a snowmobile into the side of it. So my 75-year-old grandfather went flying over a snow mound. Luckily, I can laugh about it because he was okay, but we just saw him hurling through the air, and I was pretty scared but he wasn't taking safety very seriously. So make sure
I thought you was going to go to a different way on that story. Where you said he was on the roof, and knocking the snow off the roof. I figured he's going to rent the house.
Oh, yeah, no, that's my grandfather. They used to call him Evil Knievel, huh? Is anybody, show of hands, who knows who Evil Knievel is? Anybody know who Evil Knievel is? All right. Caleb, who's Evil Knievel?
He's the one jumped a motorcycle.
He was definitely known for jumping motorcycles. What were some of the things that he jumped? Do you remember?
Buses.
Buses were the big famous one.
I think
does anybody
that's
else?
one he's got the world record on, I think.
Probably. Does anybody know what one of the most interesting stats about Evil Knievel? Something that he did to his own body in 100% capacity. Everybody ever heard that one?
He broke every bone in his body, I believe.
Yep. Evil Knievel broke every single bone in his body at some point throughout his career. So that was he was a great stuntman and jumped a lot of things, but he paid the price. So that's the price of doing business when you are trying to do elaborate tricks with those motorcycles, four-wheelers, and snowmobiles. So remember, there's only two types of people that do tricks on those types of things: those that have crashed and those that will. So
The ones that are crazy.
right, if they're doing those crazy tricks and stuff, yep, it's happened. So Nick's giving thumbs down. Are you giving thumbs down to crashing dirt bikes? Is that what you're thumbs downing?
Yeah, yeah. Hey.
Okay, I agree. That's a good thumbs down. So
Yeah, I've had several crashes myself.
I believe it with when you're racing and running those things on tracks and over jumps. It's
I tell you, the worst one was riding a trail.
Really?
I was on a smaller bike than my white one, and you don't realize how muddy your feet get. And the one I had a metal brake pad, brake step, and it kept sliding off, and I hit a tree head on.
Oh, okay. That's no, that's we did trail riding with the snowmobile. I actually saw my sister she had a snowmobile in a tree. It was like teetering on a little sapling because she hit it. Luckily, she was bigger than the tree, so she went up into the tree. The tree was sitting there, and she was kind of balancing on the tree. She had to get off. That was a pretty entertaining evolution for a 10-year-old to watch. So.
Oh yeah.
But I appreciate all of the knowledge you share with us every week, Josh. That's a really cool segment. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves and had lots of fun. So we will be going back up to Columbus to finish our Friday fun day on PALS TV, finish out season 20 strong. So make sure you stick around. But we will be back at the top of the hour. Until then, I'll let you guys take yourselves off mute and socialize, have fun, and we'll be right back.
Bye.